Hi everybody, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes to make sure that everyone who wants to tune into the presentation is able to. So just bear with me, just give it a few minutes like I said, and then we'll go ahead and get started, okay? We're here from Brazil for a campus visit. We're going to be doing the self-guided visit. Hi, how are you guys? Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm Lake. Yeah. Good. Okay. Do you do something? Yeah, like I don't know, like we came here to know more about the university, to know about the athletics. Oh, what sports? Oh, good. Graduated college. Like we're trying to transfer the so which major? Business. Okay. So for how long have you been in college? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So to introduce myself really quickly, my name is Emily. I'm a recruitment and admissions counselor here at the University of Illinois at Chicago. So I graduated from UIC in May of 2012 with a degree in political science within the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and then also from the Honors College. So any questions about those, I would be glad to answer. And then, of course, additional questions about different programs that we offer. I'm pretty well versed in those. We're going to try and keep this pretty brief since you guys are all admitted students, I believe. It's more beneficial for you to ask me the questions that you're most interested in hearing. So going ahead and getting started, this is just our brief agenda of what we'll be going over. So you'll see it's about a 30-minute presentation. Obviously, you can ignore the hour and a half tour of the campus and residence hall. This is what you would normally see as a prospective student if you came to campus to do a tour. So moving along. So at UIC, you're going to hear me touch on this a lot. So we're known for being a top 200 research funded institution in the world. All right, so this is such a critical component at UIC since we're able to offer undergraduate research to not only professional students seeking advanced degrees, but also students at the undergraduate level. So it's an entirely unique opportunity. So whether it's things like community disparities, as you see here, or urban resilience in the global environment, it's literally up to the students to be able to choose what they want to research in. So at my time at UIC, I was a transfer student, but I was able to study with my department head in political science and conduct research about corruption in the Chicagoland suburbs. Okay, so this was something that was strictly relative to my degree, and I was able to put it on my resume when I was searching for jobs after I graduated. So it kind of gave me a leg up. All right. Something else it also did for me, I'll be able to list that I'm a published co-author. My department head, who is heading the research, he will be turning that into a book eventually. So that's something I will be able to put on my resume that I wouldn't have been able to get at other institutions as easily. All right. So moving along, like I said, we are a top 200 research funded institution in the world. So we receive about $400 million on average, which is basically at our disposal to use for our faculty and students. At UIC, we were also recently ranked number 19 in the world for universities under 50 years old. So this is a huge deal. So out of every university in the world that is relatively new, we're ranked number 19. Okay, so we are truly expanding our global initiative in terms of inviting students from all across the world. We are consistently ranked as one of the most diverse institutions in the nation, so you'll hear me touch about diversity on the next slide. We're also top 15 for LGBT-friendly institutions in the U.S. Some of the next couple of rankings are things for our different programs like engineering. Business, our undergraduate College of Business is actually ranked number 1 at the undergraduate level in the Chicago area. So that's something, of course, that we are also proud of. And then moving on, nursing is also a very competitive program at UIC and also one of the best in the nation. And then reading along, you can see the rest of the distinctions that we have on the slide here. Okay, so you see, I told you that I would kind of speak more on diversity. So at UIC, we have a total student enrollment of about 28,000 students on our campus. About 17,000 of these students are studying at the undergraduate level. So of course these are students who have just completed their high school diploma or equivalent. and they're moving on to obtain their undergraduate bachelor's degree. This also includes students who have transferred into UIC after attending another institution for a few semesters or so. The additional 10 to 11,000 students we have on campus are studying at the graduate and professional levels. So these are students who have completed their undergraduate 4-year bachelor's degrees and are moving on to more advanced topics of the areas that they're choosing. UIC, we have a large presence in the city of Chicago, not just because of our size, but also because of the diverse course offerings that we're able to offer to our students and programs. So we're very well known for our health sciences. So 1 in 6 Illinois doctors is a graduate from one of our programs at UIC. 1 in 3 Illinois pharmacists and 1 in 3 Illinois dentists are also graduates from our programs. Overall, it's estimated that 1 in 10 Chicagoans with a college degree graduated from UIC as well. So you can see in our student diversity, we don't have a single racial majority of over 42%. So we're not just racially and culturally diverse, but we're also geographically diverse. So we have students represented from all 50 states across the US, and we also have students represented from 90 different countries around the globe. So it's a truly unique experience that we're able to offer to our students, and you're truly getting a global perspective in the classroom in terms of different ideas that students have. Okay, so moving along to different academic opportunities. So at UIC, we have 15 academic colleges. Our College of Medicine, which is strictly a graduate and professional program, is the largest medical school in the nation, actually. But in terms of what we can offer for undergraduate students, we have 71 undergraduate majors and 60 undergraduate minors. The colleges listed here are ones that students can enter as undergraduate students. So applied health sciences, this would be things like kinesiology and nutrition. Architecture, design, and the arts would be things, obviously, architecture, art history, things of that nature. The College of Business Administration has degrees such as accounting, marketing, finance, management. Education, we offer 1 undergraduate bachelor's degree in elementary education with an urban focus. The College of Engineering, we have multiple different degree programs, including computer science, mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, and so on. Liberal Arts and Sciences is our largest academic college, and we have over 20 different undergraduate programs to choose from. Our School of Public Health and then our College of Urban and Public Administration are our 2 newest colleges at UIC. Okay. In terms of our class size, so this is something we're relatively proud of since we are such a large institution. So our student to faculty ratio is 19 students per 1 faculty member in the classroom. So as a transfer student to UIC, the largest class that I had on campus was at about 125 students. What was nice about that class is I was in the larger lecture setting on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays they broke it down into much smaller discussion sections between 20 to 25 people. So it's really designed that if you're in one of those larger settings, they're still splitting you up into smaller sessions to make sure no one is lost before moving on to additional topics. Okay. 30% of our classes have under 20 students, and 75% of our faculty are teaching undergraduate courses. So this means you're truly getting taught by experts in your field, okay? In terms of different support programs we offer at UIC, so of course we want to bring students in to UIC and then also help them succeed during their undergraduate career here. So I'll focus on a few that I took advantage of as a student at UIC. One of them I spent a lot of time at was the Writing Center. So what's nice about the Writing Center, it's on campus, it's a free service. You can literally take a paper that you've written, let someone else look over it at the Writing Center. They'll go over any mistakes that they found or different ideas they think that you should elaborate on for your paper. What's really nice is that a lot of professors will offer extra credit for students who take their papers into the Writing Center. So there were a lot of times when I was a student that my paper would have been a B, but because I took it to the Writing Center, I was able to boost that up to an A. All right. We also have tutoring in a lot of specific areas of study, such as math and science. So a lot of these are student run. So students who are excelling in certain subject areas are able to tutor students who are struggling a little bit. One of the newest things we opened this fall was the Undergraduate Success Center. So this is an entirely new location starting from last fall. What's nice about it is you go there, you can literally have your own advising appointment. They'll make sure that you're not overwhelmed with your classes. They'll help you take more effective notes. So it's really designed for students to go and seek help if they're struggling in any of their classes. What's most important, we have a lot of different things to offer at UIC, but unless students take the initiative, like you guys are the ones that are going to have to make sure that if you're struggling to seek help. So not very often will someone come to you asking if you're struggling or if you need additional help in a certain topic. You need to make sure that you're making the initiative to do the best that you can in your classes and seek the help when you need it, okay? Other things we can offer on campus. So studying abroad is one of the most popular instances that students can partake in as students at UIC. So we have over 200 different opportunities in over 50 different countries. What's nice about studying abroad is that you can go for an academic semester, a full academic year, or you can also go for just the summer. Students who partake in studying abroad can also go more than once. So it's a really unique opportunity that I wish I had actually had time for when I was a student at UAC. What also is nice is that most financial aid that you receive can be applied towards studying abroad. Okay, so it's not very often that students are paying the full cost to study overseas as well. If studying abroad is something you're interested in, they hold multiple information sessions during the fall and spring semesters, so just keep an eye on that if you choose to come here in the fall. Okay. So other things, I talked about research. So basically, as a student at UIC, you want to be able to maximize what you can do here. Another thing I'll touch on is different internship programs. So when I was a transfer student my second semester, I was able to obtain an internship with an alderman in the city of Chicago, Robert Fioriti. So for a year, I basically helped him work on his re-election campaign. Okay, so at UIC, we truly utilize being in the city of Chicago. So one of the biggest benefits we can offer our students, we have career fairs that we hold each semester. Our spring career fair is actually the largest in the Chicagoland area, with over 200 different companies coming for internships and job opportunities for our students. So this is just another thing, especially in today's job market, that really helps students get that extra edge when they're applying to jobs after they graduate. Another thing I'll touch about, faculty connections in the city. So like I said, you're truly getting taught by experts in your field at UIC. So my department head of political science, for example, used to be a former alderman. So when I was asking him questions about different internships, he was able to tell me of different names and locations that I should look at, okay? Sorry, this is dragging a little bit. Alright, so different opportunities we have in terms of academics. So I told you at the beginning that I was a graduate from the Honors College. So the Honors College is very different than honors in high school, for example. And what I mean by that is essentially you're going to be in the same classes as your peers. One of the only exceptions, of course, there's an honors chemistry option and a basic general chemistry option. But other than that, you're generally in the same classes. What they're going to expect from you in the Honors College is that you do a service learning project every semester. So this can be something like volunteering, doing an internship. You can do a 1-credit seminar class. So what you'll also need to do, though, is what's called an honors capstone project. So this is normally done within your senior year, and it's basically a huge research opportunity. So like I said before, research is what we're known for at UIC. My suburban corruption research was what I used for my honors capstone to graduate, okay? So at the Honors College, they don't have necessarily any minimums to get into the college, but they will expect you to maintain a 3.4 GPA if you are admitted while you're a student at UIC. What's nice about the Honors College is it's not only available to incoming freshmen. You can apply to the Honors College at any time, just as long as you have at least 3 semesters left of your undergraduate career. So normally the last semester students can apply for is the second semester of their junior year, all right? What's nice about the Honors College as well, so you have dedicated computer labs and facilities, faculty fellows, and financial support. So when I was a student within the Honors College, I was able to apply for a tuition waiver for 2 semesters. So one was for a spring semester and one was for a summer semester. So instead of paying thousands of dollars in tuition for both of those semesters, I only ended up paying for fees, which was a huge discount. And they offer multitudes of these per semester, and all you really have to do is write an essay that explains how the tuition waiver would benefit you and what your ultimate goals are at UIC as well. The other program that we offer that's extremely unique to UIC is the Guaranteed Professional Program Admissions Initiative. So it's exactly how it sounds. It's guaranteed admission to one of our graduate programs as an undergraduate student. So since it is such a great opportunity, it is highly competitive. So the average ACT is normally around a 27 or above For GPPA medicine, which is one of our most popular categories, it's not uncommon for that average ACT to jump to at least a 30 or 31. Okay? What's nice about GPPA is if you go through your 4 years at UIC and decide that you want to apply to other institutions for a graduate program, you are certainly able to do so, so it's a non-binding situation. But what's really nice is you're able to focus on your undergraduate work as a student at UIC, and you don't necessarily have to worry about all the trouble of applying to medical school because or whatever other program that you're interested in, because you're guaranteed that spot. The difference between Honors College and GPPA, though, is that GPPA is only offered to incoming freshmen, so there's no option for continuing students at UIC or transfer students at this point, unfortunately. So this is a general map. I'm not sure how many of you have actually been able to visit our campus, but at UIC we technically have 3 separate sides of campus. The UIC West campus is primarily known as the medical district, so not many undergraduate courses are held on this campus. The campus that you will mostly be taking undergraduate courses is the East campus. So this is where 4 of our residence halls are also held. The campus that's not shown, it's right where you'll see Pilsen on there. It's called South Campus. So this is our newest part of campus at UIC. It has 2 of our apartment style dorms and also a freshman admission dorm called James Tuchel Towers. So it's primarily residence and nightlife, and no classes are held on that side of campus. What's nice at UIC is that you have shuttles that will take you from all 3 sides of campus, so you don't have to worry about walking or anything like that. And it's free to students, so there are multiple bus routes that will go throughout campus if you need to get to different sides at different times. Going off of our campus community, so you can see in the graph that about 3,800 students live on campus in 10 of our residence halls. So from the previous map, I told you that 4 of our residence halls are on East Campus, 3 of them are on South Campus, and then 3 of them are on West Campus. The ones that are typically unavailable for freshman students are the apartment style dorms. The other ones we have available are the typical residence hall style where you're in a cluster 6 to 8 people normally. So you either have your own room or you share with one roommate, and then you share a bathroom and have a meal plan. The apartment style dorms, on the other hand, this is where you'll have your own room. So it's normally either a studio apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, or a 4-bedroom apartment. So you get your own room, like I said, but then you share a bathroom, kitchen, and common area. So since you have a kitchen, you're not required to have a meal plan as well on the apartment style dorm options, okay? We also have 6,000 students living within 1.5 miles of campus, and the additional 15,000 students commute from home. So in terms of getting around UIC, so I already briefly talked about the campus shuttle that we offer. We also have the U-Pass. So what's nice about the U-Pass is it's a discounted rate for students in the Chicago area to get around on the Chicago Transit Authority. So a big benefit for me for the U-Pass, of course I was able to get to and from my internship when I was a student here. Also a nice social benefit, so if you have friends who are at other schools in Chicago, you're able to basically visit them for practically nothing, okay? Parking, we do allow freshmen to have cars on campus, but it is an additional cost, of course, so you can either pay per day or you can also pay for a semester, and paying for a semester is obviously cheaper. But UIC is one of the few institutions in Illinois that you don't necessarily need a car, so we have multiple other options to get around campus. In terms of what you can do for fun at UIC, so we have over 300 student organizations. So basically there's something for everyone to get involved in. So one of the things, as every fall, they'll have what's called the involvement fair. So a lot of those organizations will be on our quad, and they're literally trying to get students to join to be as involved as you can in your undergraduate career. After the involvement fair, there's something called Spark in the Park. So this is an annual concert that is held at UIC outdoors. They get pretty big names for it as well. So the 2 years I was here, they had Lupe Fiasco and also Kid Cudi. Last semester, so fall 2013, they also had Kendrick Lamar. So this is something that is available to all returning students, faculty, and staff, kind of like a huge welcome back to campus, okay? Alright, so I'm going to switch gears just a little bit since I believe all of you are admitted students. I'm not going to focus too much on this, so I'll zoom through it as quickly as possible and then we'll open it up for questions. I see that some of you have started asking me questions already, so I'll make sure to answer those as soon as it's over. So for first year students, of course, most of you are aware of these. So of course we're looking at your GPA, your class rank, and your ACT scores. Things that we'll also take into consideration are the required personal statement. Letters of recommendation are not required unless you're applying to the Honors College or GPPA programs. But we're also going to look at a student's grade trends and strength of schedule. So we get emails and calls all the time for students who didn't do so well the first semester of their the first semester in high school. So if you have an upward trend, we take that into full consideration. So you've grown academically, essentially, or you've matured. So that's something that definitely gets played into the admissions process. Ability to pay has an X next to it. This is only here because some institutions will take into account the ability for you to pay for your education in their admissions decision, and this is not something that we do at UIC. Okay, so what we require for first year students is to complete a common application, official transcripts from high schools that you've attended, official ACT or SAT scores, and then of course the application fee or fee waiver. So who we're accepting, our average ACT score is a 25. So I say this number all the time and a lot of students really get freaked out. So what we've done, we've broken down our average ACT score by academic college. So you can see them all listed at the bottom, such as the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I'll use this as an example. So their middle 50% ACT score is a 21 to 26. What this middle 50% score means is that 25% of students that we admitted scored below a 21 and 25% scored above a 26. So we're moving away from just looking primarily at GPA and ACT and instead looking at an application holistically, all right? Another number to take off of this is that we normally admit about 3,200 new students every fall semester for incoming freshmen. For deadlines, so we started something new this year, as many of you may be aware, called early action. So students who applied to UIC by November 1st received a decision from us by December 1st. So with early action, students were either admitted, denied, or deferred. What deferred means is that we held on to students' application to the regular admission deadline of January 15th. So it's basically telling students that they're almost there. So we'll look for things like an updated ACT score, letters of recommendation, or we'll also look for you guys to turn in your first semester senior year grades as well. So anything to kind of boost your application so we can admit you. Most students were deferred rather than denied, so that was also a nice little indicator for students that we were able to warn them that, hey, you're not quite there yet, but if you turn in this additional data, there's a chance that you could be admitted. The dates will remain the same, so the years will become outdated, but our regular decision deadline is always January 15th, and early action will remain at November 1st. Okay. For transfer students, it's an entirely different process. So I was a transfer student, of course, to UIC. I thought that I was going to be a student that would go straight to a four-year institution after high school, but that did not happen. So for transfer students, we're still going to look at your GPA, of course, but then we're going to look at required coursework and minimum hours. Okay, so what I mean by that is that each program at UIC will have different requirements in order to transfer in, including a minimum number of credit hours they want you to complete beforehand, okay? So for liberal arts and sciences, for example, that's where I transferred into for political science. They required me to complete 36 credit hours before I was able to transfer to UIC, okay? Things that we'll still take into consideration are the personal statement and letter of recommendation. So the personal statement is not required for transfer students. So that's one huge difference from first year and transfers. So essentially, if students would like to do it, it definitely helps your application so we can see what kind of student you are other than your academic and kind of see what your personal goals are as well and what makes you think UIC is a good fit for you. A huge difference, of course, for transfer students, we will not need your ACT or SAT scores or your high school transcripts. The only exception to this is if a transfer student has AP credit that they received from high school, then we'll need to see that official transcript in order to award AP credit here, all right? So for things that we need for transfer student, the complete application, of course, official transcripts from all colleges that you've attended after graduating high school, and then the $50 application fee. In terms of deadlines, so first year students and transfer students are very different in terms of when we admit them. So a lot of programs will not only admit in the fall for transfers, but also for the spring. So just make sure if transferring becomes an option for you to make sure that the program you're interested in is accepting students in the semester that you would like to begin. So the spring deadline will always be October 15th, and the fall deadline will always be March 31st. Okay. Okay, and the last thing I'll talk about briefly is about financing your education, of course. So at UIC, you can see that our average tuition for Illinois residents is about $15,000 per year. For non-residents of Illinois, it jumps up to about $30,000 per year, so it's almost double there. Like all state universities in Illinois, your tuition is locked for 4 years, so what you're paying as a freshman is what you'll be paying as a senior as well. Housing is not included in tuition and fees, strictly because we do not require incoming students to live on campus during that first year. So it's entirely up to you during your entire college education whether or not you would like to live on or off campus at UIC. Okay, so you can see at the bottom the different numbers based if you're commuting and you're an in-state student, if you're an in-state student you want to live on campus, and then if you're an out-of-state student who would like to live on campus, and you can see the distinctions there. So in terms of paying for college, so of course this is a huge indicator in where a student will ultimately end up. So at UIC, since we are a state institution, we rely on the FAFSA, or federal application for free aid, or free application for federal student aid. So this will determine your grant and loan eligibility from the federal and state governments. What's also nice is that students who apply to different institutions and put those institutions on your FAFSA, so if UIC is one of them, you're going to receive an award letter. So on the FAFSA, you can put up to 10 different institutions. If you put 10, you're going to get 10 different award letters. The award letters are not only going to state what you're eligible for from the federal and state government, but it's also going to list any institutional aid that you've received as well. So scholarships or grants based off of academics, those will be listed there. Students who turned in their FAFSA by February 15th should actually be able to see their award letters relatively soon. So these are found in your my.uic.edu portal under the Finances tab, okay? So I would be happy to answer any questions off of that if any of you have received your award letters already. What's also really important though is that students are continually looking for scholarships even as admitted students. So there are some scholarships that you might get one time or one semester, but you can always continue looking for scholarships as you complete your undergraduate career. So when I was a student, I told you that I searched the honors college. I was able to do the tuition waiver 2 times, but you're certainly more than able to look at outside or private scholarships as well for things that you might be capable of applying for, basically. We also have an Office of Special Scholarships at UIC, so nationally competitive scholarships, we can help you apply for those, and this is on campus as well. And then the last thing is student employment. So the biggest indicator of students who work on campus, there's an option on your FAFSA if you're interested in federal work study. So basically what federal work study is, it's an on-campus job, which is great because the difference between on-campus and off-campus jobs, of course, is that we realize on campus that your first priority is being a student. All right, so we might not schedule you more than 15 or 20 hours a week at most. Off-campus jobs, you might be working 30 hours a week on top of being a full-time student. So of course we highly recommend students trying to get an on-campus job versus an off-campus one, but both of them are definitely opportunities here at UIC. Okay, so that was the end of the presentation. I see that some of you have started asking questions, so I'll start from the top essentially and go down from the bottom. Any questions that you guys have additionally, feel free to keep typing them. Also, you can go back to the regular College Week live chat, so we'll be on until 5 o'clock. And you can continue to ask questions there to either myself or another admissions representative as well. Okay? Okay, so the first question from Nadir, where do I go to enter for the $5,000 scholarship? So what he's referring to is the President's Award Program. The President's Award Program is something that you're automatically considered for at UIC. So if you are eligible to receive it, you'll actually receive a letter in the mail stating it. If for some reason you don't receive that letter, it will also show up in your financial aid award letter, okay? Okay, this question is from Caleb. He's been accepted to mechanical engineering and wished to double major in engineering. Let's see. Okay, so he has a lot of questions here. First, he wants to double major in engineering and painting, or the arts programs. So essentially with double majoring, first, academic advisors who you will be assigned to at your required first year student orientation. This is actually where you'll be able to sign up for classes as well. You would speak to them about this. So they would be your biggest advisors for that. Generally, though, they do prefer that students stay within the same academic college. So if you're an engineering major, they prefer you to pursue a double major in engineering in terms of crossing colleges. The reason that they prefer you to stay within the same college at UIC is because different colleges have different requirements for graduation. Okay, so if you double majored in 2 different colleges, you'll have to complete all the requirements for both of those colleges in order to graduate. Let's see. He also asked if UIC is commuter school and how true is this. So I touched on this in the presentation. So we're moving away from being considered a commuter school. So you could see on the graph that I showed you earlier that about 10,000 students live within a mile of campus. So there's something always going on, whether it's a sports game, different organization, or just a group of friends getting together. There's always something to do, of course. Okay? Let's see. 75% of classes are taught by professors, so what classes are taught by TAs? So this is something I also touched on, but TAs will primarily lead discussion sections. So if you're in a larger class setting, like I said, on Mondays and Wednesdays, on Fridays is when they'll normally have the discussion section. TAs and graduate assistants may also be in the classroom in those bigger lecture settings just to help out and everything. But from my experience, the ones that they were actually teaching were just the discussion sections. Okay? Alright. Let's see. Okay, so Kanmani, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing any names wrong, asked if all the GPPA medicine interviews are done for this year. So essentially it's too late to apply to the GPPA medicine program if that's what you're referring to, but I don't believe that they're done conducting all GPPA medicine interviews or even all GPPA medicine or GPPA interviews all together. Normally they finish those end of March and early April, so we still allow students time to decide whether or not they want to enroll with us in the fall semester. So if you haven't been contacted yet, feel free, you can definitely speak with one of us in the chat room until 5 o'clock so we can kind of double check to see if there's been any movement on your application, okay? Let's see. David asked if freshmen are required to live on campus, and no, they are not. So that makes us a relatively more affordable option as well in the city of Chicago. We'll give you that option to commute, or if you want to live on campus, or if you want to live off campus as well. So all of those are up to you to decide. Okay. Ariana asked if she's been accepted to architecture and wants to pursue engineering instead. So essentially for students who wish to change their major already, this is also something that you'll discuss with your academic advisor. So as I said, during your first year student orientation, this is where you'll meet your advisor in the college that you were accepted to. So Ariana, you'll meet with an advisor within the College of Architecture, Design, and the Arts. This is where you will speak to them in regards to switching majors. Normally, they'll require you to at least complete 1 semester in the college you applied into, but this is okay because you'll be completing general education courses that are required no matter what degree that you choose at UIC, okay? But they would have the most accurate information regarding that, so it's important to speak to them and sign up for orientation as soon as possible so you can do so. Let's see. Okay, so David asked if we had different animal science programs at UIC. We do not have animal science or anything like zoology, which is a popular question we get pretty often. What we do have, we have a pre-veterinary medicine academic track, so it's not a major. A lot of students will be biology majors and then they'll be on the pre-veterinary medicine track. So this will guarantee that you take all the requirements that are needed for veterinary school at the advanced level, and then you would pursue the advanced degree at another institution. Okay, so of course, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign is the one with the advanced veterinary medicine campus, but you can do all the prerequisite courses here. So it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to pursue possibly both degrees at the same institution, or if you just kind of want to mix and match a little bit. Okay. Okay, and David also asked if it's too late to apply for financial aid and scholarships at
UIC. So essentially our priority scholarship deadline is December 1st. So we say priority because if you get that application in beforehand, then you're more eligible for different funding we may have. In terms of filling out your FAFSA, our priority FAFSA date is February 15th. So we recommend students getting it done as soon as possible if you haven't done so already. It's not that nothing will be available to you, but the further you wait, the less that becomes available to students. So if you haven't done anything with financial aid, just make sure that you get it done as soon as possible so you can be guaranteed at least some funding. Let's see. David also asked if it's too late to apply for housing. So essentially housing also had a priority deadline of March 15th. This does not mean that students are unable to still apply, but it's just basically you fill out the housing application on housing.uic.edu, and you pick between preferences whether or not you'd like a single room, if there's a specific residence hall that you're interested in living in, and then also if you want like I said, a single room versus having a room with a roommate. So that's all listed on the housing application. And normally, housing, it's competitive at UIC. So of course, students want to live in the newer residence hall, James Ducal. That's one that fills up almost immediately. But there generally are options for students who are applying after the March 15th priority deadline. We recommend, of course, getting it in as soon as possible. Ariana asked if early action is available to transfer students. Early action is only a incoming freshman designation right now. So transfer students, since you're being admitted in either the fall or spring semester, we stick with those strict deadlines. It's a benefit for incoming freshman students, so we can get them notified sooner whether or not they've been admitted to UIC. So right now it's only for incoming freshmen and not for transfers. Let's see. And Ariana also asked, what are the requirements for transfer students in biomedical engineering? So the College of Engineering is pretty lengthy in terms of what it requires. So I can list some of the classes that they're looking for, but I'd also recommend you going to our transfer admissions website. So admissions.uic.edu/transfer, and then you would click on the College of Engineering. Essentially, like I said, it is lengthy. They're looking for the completion of Calculus 1, 2, and 3, Introduction to Differential Equations, Physics 1 and 2, College Chemistry, English Composition 1 and 2, and I believe that's it. But of course, the more of those you have completed, the better off you stand in terms of admission. It's a minimum 2.5 for a guaranteed review of your application, 2.75 if you're not an Illinois resident. But essentially, it's not uncommon for that average GPA to be well above a 3.0. So the 2.5 will guarantee a review, but in terms of who we're admitting, the College of Engineering is a pretty competitive program at UIC, so it's in your interest to have a GPA well within the 3.0 range. Okay. Let's see. So David asked if you move into Illinois, can you get the new residential rate for the next year, or are you locked to the first year rate? So essentially, students are able to petition for in-state residency if they're an out-of-state student. Generally, though, the requirement for in-state residency is for students to live in Illinois for 1 year for purposes other than going to school here. Okay, so it is difficult to establish Illinois residency, but this is something you could do through the admissions office through a petition. So that would be after the first year, of course. For out-of-state students, though, we're also offering something called the Chicago Grant. So if you've been admitted, you should have received information about it already, but it's generally a scholarship that helps alleviate the difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition at UIC to expand the number of out-of-state students we're bringing on campus every year. Okay. Let's see. Ariana also asked, personally, where have I found success in scholarship finding? So for me personally, the Honors College was a huge savior in terms of scholarship and different funding I had for my education. So I was at UIC for 5 semesters, and like I said, I received the tuition waiver for 2 semesters. So that was all through being a part of the Honors College. But scholarships, it's kind of a luck of the draw situation, so you can search, of course, outside private scholarships. You can get in touch with different support programs on campus. They can sometimes offer tuition waivers as well. And then other than that, it's just pretty much searching on your own what's out there. You can also, like I said, reach out to the Office of Special Scholarship Programs at UIC to see any nationally competitive scholarships that you may be applicable for, especially if you have a strong GPA. So there are options, of course, but in terms of finding them, it's more about the student taking the initiative to do so. So yeah, like I said, honors college was huge for me, but I didn't do as much as I should have in terms of outside private scholarship finding as well. Okay, another question, when is it too late to do the double major? So essentially double majoring is something you're interested in. It's best to do it as soon as possible. This is because you'll have to complete degree requirements for both programs that you're interested in. So the sooner you can get started on both of those degree program requirements, the sooner you can complete them and graduate. So I don't know if there's a specific deadline where you can designate that you want to double major, but in terms of declaring your one major, if you're only pursuing one, they need you to do that by your junior year so you can still graduate within a reasonable time. But yeah, that's all through your advisor. So your advisor will have more information on whether or not it's a smart idea for you to double major after a certain number of semesters at UIC. Okay. Another question, do we have a master's in international business? So I don't believe so. The only thing we offer for international business is actually at the minor. So an undergraduate minor is kind of like a specialty and in addition to your degree program that you're studying at the bachelor's level. So no, unfortunately we don't have the master's in international business. Another question, how do placement tests results work for students who also already have AP credit in the tests that they're required to take? So essentially this is another thing for your advisor. So your academic advisor, once again, you will meet during your incoming student orientation. So it's really important if you have those AP tests done, that you make that known to them when you're registering for classes. I'm not sure if an AP test can override a placement test in terms of the prerequisite courses you need to complete before going to more advanced classes in that subject, but that would definitely be a question for them as well. Okay, and then another question, do I have an idea on the percentage of students that graduate there and then go on to their profession or graduate school in their focus versus the percentage of those who don't? So I don't have an exact percentage. The main reason of that, of course, is there are multiple different programs at UIC, so it just kind of depends where a student takes their degree. So of course students are more likely to succeed after they graduate if they take advantage of different opportunities at the undergraduate level, so things like doing undergraduate research, doing internship programs, reaching out with our career services office. These are all things that will help you prepare when you guys start looking for jobs after graduation. What's also nice as a UIC alumni, you're able to go to any job fairs held on campus for free as well. So these are available to all alumni and there's no time limit on that. So this is just another benefit that we're able to offer students as well. Okay, so another question is, what are the requirements for the College of Business, and is there an international business major? So once again, there is no international business major, once again, unfortunately. It's only available for the minor. And then in terms of the requirements, I believe you're referring to transferring. So the College of Business will require students to have at least 24 credit hours completed by the time they apply, and at least 36 credit hours completed at the time they enroll. They will also have you, or look for you to have completed English Composition 1 and 2, Calculus 1 or Business Calculus, and then Finite Mathematics. Okay, so those 4 classes are pretty much required in terms of transferring. They really want you guys to have those completed before coming in and starting the program here. In terms of GPA, once again, the minimum is a 2.75, but in terms of students who are actually admitted, the closer you can get to a 3.0, the stronger your application will look. Let's see. Another question is, can a transfer student do a double major? So once again, this is also a question for your academic advisor. It is possible, but it's up to your advisor to kind of advise you whether or not it's something that's feasible in a certain amount of time that you would like to stay at UIC. So of course, doing a double major, you have to complete requirements of both degrees that you're interested in, so that can add a lengthy amount of time to your degree. So if it's something that you're just pursuing as a junior transfer student, for example, it may add significant amount of time in terms of graduation. Another question is the inter-college transfer easier than a transfer from a community college? So I wouldn't necessarily say it's easier. Inter-college transfer is if a student wants to go from being an engineering major to a major in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So that's another question. You'll speak with your advisor. You'll also contact both colleges. So the advisor, if you're in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and also whatever college that you want to get into or transfer into. And generally it's up to them to determine if there are any requirements they want you to complete before making the transfer of your degree, or if they're just accepting students to do so. So this is also a question for your advisor. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, it's a long question. Okay, so another question, double major programs that are kind of made to go together. So there are a lot of programs that, like I said, no matter what degree you get at UIC, you'll have to take the general education requirements that we need in order to graduate. But in terms of the degree programs that you choose from, they're usually pretty opposite. So a lot of the classes may not coincide very well with another program. That's why another reason it's important to, if you want a double major, to try and pick two different programs within the same academic college, since this can sometimes alleviate the number of courses that you may take as an undergraduate student at UIC. When you do two programs in two different colleges, this is where it can get a little bit lengthy, because once again you'll be completing requirements for both of those colleges in order to graduate. Okay, another question, Ariana asked, where do I get my advisor's information? So your academic advisor is someone that you are assigned to. So essentially, normally you will meet your advisor during orientation. Transfer students are not required to go to orientation, so if you're a transfer student, the best bet is getting in contact with the college that you were admitted to. So if it's the College of Business, for example, you'll contact them. They can definitely make an appointment with you to see if you need help scheduling classes or if you want to discuss a major change or anything like that. But incoming freshmen, you will meet your advisor during your orientation, and this is where you'll sign up for the first semester of your freshman year classes. Okay. I'll kind of expand on that while I'm waiting for any other questions to come in. So for first year students especially, it's really important to take any required placement tests as soon as possible if you know that you want to come to UIC in the fall. The reason for this is because you won't be able to sign up for orientation until after you complete these placement tests. So the sooner you go to orientation, I believe they begin in late May and go through late July, early August. But the sooner you attend, the sooner you can sign up for your classes for the fall, which means you'll have a better selection in terms of what's available in the major that you've chosen. So students who come to orientation relatively later might not have as many options in terms of their course pickings for the fall semester. Okay, another question. What would be the requirements for a transfer student interested in the Asian Studies program, and would having an associate's degree but no prior language classes potentially set me back or force me to start as a freshman? So essentially, the general requirements, the Asian American Studies program is within the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So the only requirements that they have for transferring are for students to have 24 credit hours at the time they apply, and 36 credit hours completed by the time they enroll. The classes they would like for you to have completed before transferring are English Composition 1 and 2, a science course with a lab component, and then a math course above college algebra. So having these completed plus the minimum requirements makes your application look stronger. And then in terms of GPA, they're also looking at a minimum 2.5, but like most other programs at UIC, the closer you can get to a 3.0, the stronger your application will look. Okay. Okay, another question, if students can minor in music. Let's see. And yes, that is possible. So we have a Bachelor's of Arts in Music that's available for a degree program at the undergraduate level, and then also as a minor as well. Okay. Minors are a little bit different than majors. Of course, they don't require as many courses to be completed. Most minors at UIC are between like 18 credit hours and 24 credit hours, so between 6 and 8 classes in addition to your undergraduate program that you've chosen. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions that have been asked so far. So if anyone has any other questions, of course, feel free to type them in now. You can also head over to the College Week live chat as well. Once again, that will be going until 5 o'clock. Okay, another question. If there are ensembles, and then can anyone join them? So yes, there are different ensembles at UIC. So I'm not quite sure the different requirements. I know for students pursuing a degree program in one of those options, such as music performance, there's an audition required. So I'm sure if you wanted to join like a concert band at UIC that there would be an audition, but it would be best to contact the College of Architecture, Design, and the Arts if you're just interested in playing an instrument and not necessarily getting your degree in that program. Okay, another question, what are the residency requirements for Illinois tuition rates? So the general requirement is for students to have lived in Illinois for 1 year prior to starting classes for purposes other than attending school. So normally they'll have, students will have had to have had work experience, so make a considerable amount of money for the year that they've been in UIC. But essentially, if you believe that you qualify for in-state tuition, you would fill out a residency petition. This can be found literally, the easiest way to find it is by Googling UIC residency petition. It's also on admissions.uic.edu. And on the left-hand side, you'll see forms and documents. So you'll see the petition there as well. Another question, sorry, Ariana, I think I missed this one. Can architecture majors pursue research and engineering. So generally, research is made for students based off of their interests. So when I was an honors college student, I could have done research regarding any topic that I chose for my capstone. But in terms of conducting research outside of the honors college, of course, normally priority will go to students within that college. So different opportunities within the College of Engineering in terms of research will be opened up to students within that college first. But I'm sure if there's not enough interest, that students from other colleges at the university would be able to partake in that research as well. What's nice at UIC, so when I was in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, I got emails almost weekly about different research opportunities that I could partake in. So some of them you have to apply for, some of them you can simply go on a website and say that you're interested, and they'll contact you if they have anything available. So just keep an eye on what's out there if you choose to come to UIC starting in the fall. But yeah, I think it may be possible, but it might just be for students within that program first. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left, so if you guys have any last questions for me to answer, feel free to ask them now, and I'd be glad to do so before we log off. And once again, please stick around and talk in the regular College Week Live chat. There are plenty of admissions counselors, including myself after I'm done, that will be able to answer any additional questions you come up with. Question is if there's a high percentage acceptance into University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign if you transfer from another institution. So I don't know the percentage of students that transfer in between colleges within the University of Illinois system, so Illinois, Urbana, and Champaign. What I can say though, if students choose to go to Urbana and then they want to transfer to UIC or vice versa, you don't have to pay the application fee. A lot of your classes, of course, will transfer since we're part of the University of Illinois system, but I don't know the actual percentage. And then in terms of graduate school, so I don't think that going to UIC or Urbana, for example, gives you sort of a leg up in terms of the admissions process for grad school. Normally you're put into a pool with all applicants and not just considered based off of going to a school as an undergraduate student. So I don't think there's any sort of loyalty thing that goes into the admissions process. One thing I can say that looks good, of course, for students going into medicine, at the undergraduate level, our sciences are relatively more difficult on an academic level, so that sometimes can play a role in admissions as well at the graduate level, since graduate schools are aware that our undergraduate programs in sciences are relatively difficult to achieve. Okay. Last question. So the group and the poster behind me, I wish I could tell you. Not tell you, I wish I could show you a better picture, but that's actually a group of students at a basketball game. So who's also included in the picture is our mascot, Sparky the Dragon. But yeah, they're there to take pictures all the time. We also have what's called the Ring of Fire. So for basketball games, students are able to sit together and cheer on the teams. It's a great way to meet new people, of course, and cheer on the different sports that we have to offer on campus. Let's see. And thank you, David, for the Gino's East pizza on you. I'll hold you to that if you come to campus. Okay, we have about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to get ready to log off. But like I said before, please stick around, ask any questions. No question have we not seen before, I can promise you that. If you have any additional questions, though, after we log off, our contact information is still on the screen. So our direct number is 312-996-4350. If you're an incoming first year student and you've received a certificate of admission, you should already have my email address on there. But for those of you who may not, my direct email is M as in Mary, ARR, the number 3 at uic.edu. So I would be glad to answer any questions that you have via email as well. So thank you guys for checking in, and stick around until 5. We'll be at the regular chat for another hour, so please ask any other questions that you guys have. All right, thank you.